today.
Thank you for having me as well.
Let's chat.
Let's chat.
Oh my gosh. Wait, what's your kitty's name again?
Luna.
Luna.
Classic pet name.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute. That is a classic pet name.
She is a rag doll, and she certainly is a rag doll.
I hope she makes her way over here. Is this actually her?
This is Luna. This is my cat.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so if you can't see her on video, she may make her way over, but
She probably will.
okay, and how about these guys?
This is Coco, and this is Phoebe. These two are my cats from home. Back in Marshfield, when I moved to Providence with my partner, we took in her cat Luna, and then
my
these two
God.
are safely at home with my brother and my dad.
I love this.
They are all so good. Big cat lovers.
Yes.
And then in the other room, we have a bunny.
Awesome. And I see you have a keyboard. Is that yours?
Yes. My friends from college actually lent that to me. And I've been playing piano my whole life.
Cool.
I've started with classical, and I was a jazz pianist for a couple of years.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I loved it. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Jazz piano definitely took a lot out of me. That is a hard area.
Yeah.
I really applaud to anyone who can do real good jazz piano.
Yeah, so that's sort of like I don't know much about much music at all. So like with jazz piano, it's like you're kind of coming up with stuff with the band as you're going.
Exactly.
So you got to be able to like hear what's going on and then keep it moving yourself.
Right. And the chord progression changes almost rapidly. So you got to change not only the chord progression, but the scales with it. So you're soloing just as good.
Right?
Like all 10 fingers.
Do you listen to jam bands?
Every now and then, when in Marshfield, the Levitate Music Festival will happen.
Yeah.
And, those I feel like all jam bands.
Yes.
That backyard festival. So fun. Loved it. I'm not sure if Lake Street Dive
I got their
is-
shirt on. I'm wearing I'm wearing their Rexicana merch.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Go Levitate.
Got to represent.
But there was a lot of bands there that really inspired me with like the soloing, how much like effort and like thought goes into these kind of songs and just production. I really envy. I wish I could still do it, but as someone with stage fright, I had to step off.
Yeah, you're more behind the scenes girly now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I asked too because I've always been more like a punk rock girly, but because I live on the South Shore and a lot more like reggae, jam band type of stuff, like that music is just more accessible.
Yes.
I'm like, all right, I need to start figuring out what's going on here. And I went to a concert the other night. The Elevators were playing, and then Moon Taxi was playing before that. I hadn't heard them before, so I wasn't familiar with their music. And yeah, it just reminded me what you're saying about jazz, because it's like, I don't know, there was a part where I'm like, this keyboardist, what's going on here? He's like, just kind of like not, I was like, literally like, this guy's not contributing much. What's happening here? And then all of a sudden it's this like 5-minute solo when he's like dying.
Takes your breath away.
After. And it was amazing. But I'm like, what is like, it's like, am I at a classical performance right now? Like what's happening? And then there was another part where the drummer all of a sudden was like started this metal sounding riff. And I'm just like, and I'm more like a hard rock kind of girl. So I was just like, yes. But then it was like, then the whole band kind of got onto what he was doing. And then it kind of went back to like your surf rock vibe.
Yeah.
But there must be so many crossovers between that style of music and jazz. But like I said, I'm completely new to both of them. I don't really.
Yeah, I feel like every musician has like a language that we all speak when we're like playing together. It's like the eyes say a lot. It's like, all right, let's do it. Okay, you go right into it, and it's really awesome. My old band, I was in a couple of them before my tattooing career. One of them was started in early high school with my two friends, Quinn and Cam. And then as we got older, we introduced new people. We played a lot. We had some stuff on Spotify.
Cool.
Did some music videos. It was
Wait, what was the name?
Fun.
What was the band name?
2 names.
Okay. No pressure, but care to share?
Nobody look this up. The first one was Blind Saints.
Okay.
And in my tattoo room, I have a record of one of them.
Yeah.
Which is really funny, and it works perfectly still. And then the last band I was in was called Grey World. And I was with my friend Cam and Nasli, who are two very talented people, still do music. Cam's out in New York, and I wish nothing but the best for them.
Yeah.
We fell out just because we went our separate ways, but
Sure.
oh wow, that was a fun time writing with them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so wild. So, okay, so we have to go back to how we met because, or like how we re-met, I guess.
Yes.
So I had seen Olivia Harvey had shared that she got a new tattoo. It was the fish hook. I think it was like the black with sort of the red.
Yep, we did that out in Pearl Street, yeah.
Yeah,
Out in
okay.
Boston.
And so you're doing a guest spot up at Pearl Street for that one.
Yep, that's how we met. I saw Olivia for the first time in 10 years. So crazy.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I just loved it when she posted it. And so I was looking through your stuff, and then I was doing an embroidery class with Olivia and then seeing more of her tattoos, and I'm just telling her like, oh, I really want a piece, and I love that new one you got, and I've had this idea for a while, but I just, you just have to like wait for it all to kind of fall into place. So like I'd known since I started having kids, like I wanted a family tattoo, and I was thinking like, oh, I'll do their flowers or whatever, like all these different ideas, like how do I represent the family? And then I finally came up with the idea recently, to do the moon phases. So the moon phases of each of the kids.
Yeah.
But then I was telling Olivia, I'm like, I really love this idea, but I just don't know how to do it. And I sketched it out for her real quick.
Yeah.
And she immediately was just like, oh, so just have the 5 moons going around the back of your arm and your elbow.
Yeah.
And it was just,
It
that was it. And already I had been eyeing the work you had done on her. So I think that week I had reached out to you, or you had some openings.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And we got in. So I was psyched because I'm like, okay, I have a personal reference because obviously Olivia and you knew each other from childhood or from high school anyway.
Yes.
And then I had seen your work. I loved your work. And then I found out that you guys had gone to high school together. So my friend Megan Dinsmore, who's the art director for the whole Marshfield school system, she knew you as well.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, feeling great, feeling good. I walk in and you tell me, no, we've actually met before.
Yes. You walked in and I'm like, I recognize you. And like, I'm pretty good at recognizing a face. If a client comes in and is like, oh, you've tattooed me before, takes a year off my life. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you. But I recognized you and I was like, we have met before and it's been a long time, but what was it? Yeah.
So funny.
And then Miss Dinsmore, you were doing a session at an art class back in high school. Was it pottery or was it?
It wasn't. It was painting. So this was probably in maybe like 2013. Were you in high school?
Yeah.
Then?
Yeah.
So I was going in to do like a visiting artist spot, and I was walking you guys through a painting, sort of like the paint bar style.
Exactly.
And yes, so funny. So yes, we absolutely had met before. I love the fact that like you're essentially one of my students.
Exactly.
If only for like a 2-hour workshop. But I'm obsessed with the fact that like someone I taught anything in art then ended up tattooing me.
Exactly.
It's just, where's my piece too? Oh, all healed.
Oh, it looks so
There's my
good.
moons.
Oh,
Yeah,
show the camera.
I don't know what the camera can see, but nice healing. Nice healing.
Looks really good.
I love it.
That came out really awesome.
Yeah. And it's so great too because I was able to send you the sketch and just know that like I completely trust your judgment. And that's so key for me. Like I'll have an idea, but then it's like you got to find an artist who you trust their style because it's like you're the one that knows how to interpret it. And like it's such a simple design, but just some of the things you decided to do with like when you were doing the interior curved line down, you kind of like skipped it so it's not a solid line. It kind of like picks up, picks up. Those little types of things.
They make a difference. And my biggest thing with being a tattoo artist, you always hear about these people wanting some adjustments, wanting changes to their tattoos. And my biggest thing is if you have an idea, we're going to execute it exactly how you want it. Mm-hmm. There's going to might be some changes just to make sure healing goes properly, but I really want to make sure that what people get and what's so meaningful for them is exactly what they picture. And we will take all the time in the world to make sure that that is perfect for you.
Yes.
That is the biggest thing that I follow when I started tattooing, is just to make sure that you are happy with the final design and also seeing the design beforehand so you know what to expect.
Yeah, because really, I mean, you're a service provider at some level. Like there's, I guess regardless of even your opinions, like people come to you because they want your opinions, but at some point it's like the customer's got to be the one to be like, all right, make the final call. Like, let's start.
Exactly. And it goes both ways. I need to be confident in what I'm doing, and you guys need to be confident in what you want as well. And it's a perfect little equation here that you get exactly what you wanted. And sometimes people don't know what they want, and that's totally fine. It's a process. Something as permanent as this should require a lot of thought. Some people don't require any thought. I mean, I've gotten all these flash pieces. I'm like, I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a bullet bill from Mario because I like to go from last to first place real
quickly.
My
gosh, I love it. Yeah.
But meaningful or not, these tattoos are important to this person and for the rest of their life. So I require much as much. It requires just as much thought on my end as it does for yours. So.
I love that. So in high school, you were obviously staying after school and doing extra art activities.
Oh yeah, art club.
Right? Art club. So I'm assuming, did you do AP? I know they have AP art at Marshfield High, so you're doing AP art. What about like even dialing it back further? Like, were you doing extracurricular art activities? I know you mentioned you've been in music. I imagine that's something you started as a kid. So like, what were you like as a kid when it came to creativity and sort of like exploring the imaginative world?
Yeah. So back then I was the one that drew portraits, and I definitely had my fixations. If I liked something, I liked it. I have probably about hundreds of drawings of One Direction because God,
awesome.
I loved portraits. It's the one thing I loved to do back then. I would draw for people. If someone wanted a picture with a celebrity, I'll draw them with them because why not? You can't meet them. So there's a picture of you guys together.
I love that.
I was the one that's like, can you draw me this? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. But at that age, it's like, what do you charge for that? I'm not going to charge like $200 for a piece when I'm drawing in high school kind of thing for a friend. For extracurricular activities, I worked at the North River Art Society.
Oh, no way.
So that's how Olivia and I had met.
Okay.
I was the assistant and Olivia was the teacher.
Gotcha.
And eventually, when I hit 16, 17, I was the teacher. So I would teach kids from 6 to 11 their art classes, after school summer program. And I've watched some of those kids grow up from when they were 6 to becoming now an assistant. That was so rewarding for me. I really loved working with kids and all the art. And I took a lot of inspiration from Miss Dinsmore's classes and my 7th grade and 6th grade art classes with Miss I believe her name is different, and then Miss Walsh from middle school. Those two teachers had a lot of curriculums that really stuck with me, so I did those same projects with those kids in the summer school program.
Cool.
Or the summer program. Super fun. Mrs. Walsh inspired me and pushed me to the job of North River Art Society, which I truly thank her so much. So I worked with kids there. I drew portraits. And then after that, I went into animation. And quickly found out that was not my field.
Okay, so when you were drawing portraits for everyone, first of all, what was your medium of choice?
Charcoal and watercolor.
Okay, charcoal and watercolor. Interesting mix.
Very interesting.
Either or.
Yes, I loved both.
Yeah. And then were you charging people like $5-10 for a portrait in high school?
Sometimes even nothing. Like,
yeah.
I'm just like, you're a friend, and I would like to make you happy.
I just love this like early entrepreneurial spirit.
I know. I was like a little business person back then. I did some larger pieces for family members and family of friends. And back then, when I was that young, I did not know how to manage that. Mm-hmm. There were some real good learning experiences. Everyone was really nice, and I never had like a bad customer, even if they were just family friends. And it was a whirlwind. I was drawing portraits almost every day, and just as much as I was doing homework.
This is amazing. Okay, so so it sounds like you were able to make enough like money to like bring yourself to the movies or whatever, like high school kid money.
Yeah, if I wanted some like fries down the street, I got it. Like, I'm good.
I love this. That's so great. I was doing a talk at Derby Arts Academy this summer, and it's all of these kids, I think it's K-8, this summer program, and I was trying to drive home to them like, guys, what if instead of a lemonade stand, you're doing a greeting card stand? Like, make a bunch of greeting cards with your friends. Like, people want to support creativity, especially when they see it in kids, and this little like, I feel like kids are natural entrepreneurs. Like, I remember, do you know those like the pony beads you can get and you can string them together and weave them together so you can make like lizards?
Yes.
There was like a lizard pony bead business going on in my middle school where like there was this one kid in particular who was really good at it, and people would like put orders in, get their color, their color selections. And then later, so I graduated high school in 2003. So in, I guess, like early high school, he would burn people's CDs. That was another little side hustle. I'm like, I feel like if you're an entrepreneur, like you're just an entrepreneur from the time you're a kid.
Exactly. You just know it. Networking came pretty easy to me once I came into college area. And especially when working with tattooing and these clients who come in, I love to chat. And it's like, I do have this little script. It's like, how are you? Where have you been? What do you do for work? It's like, even then I've met the most coolest, most amazing people who've come into the chair just getting tattooed. And it's like a sense of community when people are like, let's share like what we have here. It's
a very intimate experience. It's interesting because like, of course I had a lot of background with you. So I came in like hot being like, hey, what's up? Do you know this person? Like already feeling in community with you. But I have other tattoos where, it's like I didn't know the tattoo artist before or after, but in that moment, I mean, it's wild. Friends. It's a very intimate connection that you have with someone.
Exactly. I've made a lot of good friends, like clients who've come in. They're now like, we talk every day. Yeah. We'll play some games together. It's really fun. I really love meeting new people and hearing their stories. It feels like I'm part of their life for a second, even if it's just for a moment and I never see them again. It's really special.
That's like such a key, I think, to sort of like creativity. It's like if you're creative, but then also you're comfortable enough with your creativity to put it out there, even since you're a kid, and then also like you're naturally chatty. Which I can identify with a lot of those because networking and all of this has come really easy to me too because I'm genuinely curious about people. Yeah. And so wherever I am, no matter what I'm doing, I'm like getting people's story and then they get mine. And then it's like you just naturally end up finding ways to work together, I think. Exactly. It's sort of like they're like, oh, you do window painting? Well, I actually need some windows painted. So like, all right, cool, let's do this. And now all of a sudden I have this longer term relationship with someone, but it's just because I was like maybe sitting in their shop or like I was a customer at their business.
Right.
But I just can't shut up. As you can see, I've started a podcast series because I'm like having these conversations all the time. And I'm like, I think I should start capturing some of them. Right. Especially because I'm always directing my clients and my students to the fact that there's so many ways to be a creative. Like, I think that, growing up, I was always surrounded by creativity. I was always supported as a creative, but like I knew I didn't want to go and try to sell paintings at galleries. I didn't even really want to move away to a different environment. And it's like I didn't want to be an art teacher in a school. I considered it, but I saw how difficult that job was as I got older. And I was like, that's too hard for me. So I ended up finding my way through, to community education. So I can kind of teach the way I want and have my studio practice. But there's just so many things, like being a tattoo artist. It seems like one of those jobs that, earlier in my career, I was probably like, okay, that's something I could do. But like, I would have no idea how to even get into that field. Mm-hmm. So before we get there, though, you went in. So from high school, you started getting into animation. That's what did you go in? I know you went to Mass Art.
Yep.
Also something we share.
Yes.
Have our Mass Art days. Love that school. You were there for animation.
Yes.
Okay. And so you knew that right away. You're like, okay, I'm going to go to Mass Art. Mm-hmm. Again, and it's like just tracking sort of, okay, you're a tattoo artist, you're a musician, like this, how do we get here, right? Because this is what I want to highlight for people. How do you get to this creative lifestyle? And like North River Art Society, great art teachers in your school, right? So now you're in your district with support, you're getting support in your local community. Mass Art isn't far from where we live.
Right.
And it's a state school, so it's not actually that expensive. It's not like you're paying for a private art school. Mm-hmm. So just like access is so huge. So you get into Mass Art, you're in animation, and you did end up completing with an animation degree, right?
No, actually, I dropped out the second year.
You did?
I did, yes. That first year, there were some things telling me that I shouldn't have been at that school.
Okay.
The first year, real bad leg break on campus.
No.
Right in front of Treehouse. I had phones on me, like I saw Snapchat stories of me on the ground there.
Did someone also come and help you? Or
Of course. There were some really nice MCPHS students who were like, Bones, nice. Because that's their field. They're like, nice.
Oh my gosh, your bones were exposed.
They're barely. It was real close out there. I had broken 6 bones. My leg was facing a different way.
Stop. How did this happen?
Skateboarding. And I took the skateboard out of this guy's hand, who was probably very happy to see this happen to me at that moment.
Oh my God.
And I landed on the really wrong way on my leg there, and I just sat up, and I'm like, something isn't right. And people behind me, the windows to Treehouse are all the way open. So I look behind me, and it's 5:00. Everyone's getting out of their 8 to 5 studio class or something like that. Rush hour. Everyone's in the lobby just watching.
Oh no.
Like, it's really awesome. Not really, but
no.
Then I saw a couple of stories of me in Snapchat from close friends of mine. I'm like, that's actually me.
Unreal. And Treehouse, that's that new dorm they built.
Exactly.
Right? I think that opened maybe around the end of my time there.
Yes, it was new.
Yeah. Gorgeous building right across, but like right on Huntington Ave. The T stop is also right there.
Yeah,
God
forbid the ambulance trying to get to you quickly too.
Well, exactly, because there's so many hospitals there, but I was just thinking, like, it actually probably took a minute.
It took about 30 minutes for them to arrive, so I was just kind of sitting there.
Unbelievable.
The second year also just got really sick, and it was just like I had to take some time. I left, and I'm like, what do I do now? I know how to network. I have the skill. I know what I want to do in a way. And I knew that wasn't animation. Even my advisor was like, I don't think this is the place for you. And of course, hearing that, I'm angry. Because I just spent all this money for this. And you're telling me I shouldn't be here? Which he was right. And I'm like, what do I do? I know how to network. And there was and like you said, you're in the art field. How do you manage this? How do you go about this? Knowing how cutthroat or competitive this area is. And I was dropping my brother off one day to on like a little play date with his best friend. This was like that young. We were that young, so I can call it a little play date.
Yeah.
And I was dropping him off at his friend's house, and his friend's mom was a photographer. And I saw their cat. I picked up the cat, and I was like, "Oh, hey, Django." And Michelle, her name, walked out and was like, "Hey, you're Jack's sister." And I'm like, "Yeah, hey. I heard you're a photographer. Can I have a job?"
Okay.
And so I just went for it. I was just like, "Great. I do art. Would love to help you out." And this is the first time we're meeting. I've never, I just went for it.
Here we go.
My mom told me a story about how I did that to a piano teacher. She's like, "Can I learn from you?" And I'm like 6 or something. And Mom was like, "No, wait, that costs money."
Exactly. Like, we don't have a piano.
Exactly. And then from there, piano. So I just did the same thing. I guess I did that even when I was like 5 to 6. Michelle, she's like, "Yeah, bold. Love it. You start Tuesday." So I started working in like the fashion and photography field for a couple years. I worked with Reebok, Converse every now and then, just some like apparel that would come into our studio as like a commission.
So you're doing product photography?
Exactly. Okay. That's the word. Product photography. And then I ended up joining a whole studio called Anchor Artists and worked as an assistant stylist.
Cool.
And that is kind of where my first real job outside of college and like art networking came about.
So interesting. So, yeah, it sounds like you were also meeting a lot of people who were also taking a variety of paths in their professions to work in creative fields. Like the amount of people you must have interacted with or seen what goes into product photography. You know, I'm sure you had like very specific guidelines of how they wanted things photographed, and you're sort of needing to achieve the task at hand, but do your own thing a little bit. And then at the next photography studio you were working at, was that similar type of thing? You said it was more like style stuff. So what does that mean? Were you doing like food photography style? Like
a couple times I did. I worked with that Faye dairy brand once. So it was commission. I would be sent off at different studios. This Anchor Artists has a bunch of really talented stylists and assistant stylists who go to these companies and just help the like Hasbro or Converse, Reebok, TJ Maxx. What are some other ones? Just like some random companies that kind of need that assistance. They'll go to Anchor Artists and ask for like a stylist. And we will go in, steam all the clothes. I was the steamer.
I love it.
I was just the assistant at that point. So I would make sure all the clothes were nice and neat. The models got their clothes on. Every shoe was tied exactly the same. I'm very good at shoe tying.
Yes.
And Converse was the most picky and like about their shoelaces. I had so much fun. I really loved working with those stylists, and I still follow most of them to this day. And
That's
I wish them nothing but the best, and I do miss them. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you got to get me in with some of these shoe people because I want to leave a sketchbook with you too, if you have. So I told you about my traveling sketchbook project, right? Where they go to professional artists, they go to events that I'm at, they go to workshops I'm in, and getting everyone to work together is sort of the whole point. It's like hundreds and hundreds of people have contributed to this.
So cool.
They turn into collage materials. I cut them into, and then I run collage workshops. It's a whole thing. But one of the things I do sometimes is I'll leave one of my sketchbooks at a corporate location for a little while. And my brother is a buyer for a big shoe company around here. So I'm like, dude, Converse.
Yeah.
There's like all these, there's Reebok. There's all these different shoe manufacturers. I'm like, you got to get me in. I just want to like get one of my sketchbooks in the break room for employees to just doodle in.
Right.
And then they're contributing to this project, being a part of the community. So I'm going to be hitting you up after this because I'm like, I need to get one of my pieces into their break room.
Yeah, I wonder if I can get in contact with one of the old stylists to be like, hey, can you take this with you?
Yeah, my brother's just like this like athlete dude doing spreadsheets all the time. He doesn't get what I'm talking about. I'm like, okay, you're not a good liaison for this. Like, I need another in. But that's so cool too, because now you're seeing all these different companies as well. Like, look at all of these jobs. Like, someone's designing these shoes. Like, aside from the marketing material, it's just the actual products themselves.
Right. Yeah, they were all these, like, it was so interesting to see, like, where all this stuff happened. Rarely was I ever at the headquarters. They're always at, like, off-site shoots and studios. Michelle works in East Boston, has a really awesome studio out there that I started working at, and then everything just gets sent there. Yeah. They ship stuff out, all the shoes. Thankfully, I was always the sample size, seven and a half. Nice. So I was able to take some shoes home. Got some Reebok shoes that I was just like happy to take home. And it was so cool. I really, really loved working with Michelle there, especially. She has been such a huge help in, like, my career, inspiration, and all. Like, I have a lot to thank to her about. And her and my mom became really good friends.
Oh, great.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Mentors are so important. I have a mentor, Pam Golden, who I met when I was 3. Because she lived on the same neighborhood. Actually, we lived in Marshfield. We lived up near Wrexham Beach when I was little. Yeah. My mom and her got friendly, and I started, as I got older, I was always doing art with her, and just being exposed to another artist.
Yes.
Is so great. But I love that connection with other artists from other generations, because they're just naturally ahead of you.
Yeah.
So you can just see kind of what they've done. They can open some doors for you.
Yep. And at this point, we can complain about the same things.
I know. Okay, so you're doing product photography, and at this point, did you have any tattoos?
At this point, I had a couple little ones.
Okay.
My first couple were matching tattoos with my really good friends. This little tiny flower on my wrist right here.
This guy right here?
This little flower right here.
Cutie.
You can see the camera, that tiny little flower right here. That was a matching tattoo with my 4 other good friends.
Oh, I love that.
4 or 5. And we've all been good friends since high school. All of us got the same flower. It's like we're the bud at the top, and then the other 4 are the friends there.
I love that.
We've all been friends since high school, still are friends. One of them's out in the Czech Republic. Sydney, miss you. And that was my first tattoo. So meaningful. My other tattoo was on the back of my arm here. Also a matching tattoo with my best friend from Mass Art, who was my RA.
Oh, great.
Natalia, who lives out in Colombia.
Okay.
So nice. And my mentor, the tattoo artist who taught me everything I know, did that tattoo for me. Okay. For us when we were out in LA together.
Okay.
And it was at this point where the new life started, because I got that tattoo from Rusty, who works at Tat Logic out in California. Me and Natalia were like, we want to kind of do something new. Natalia has been in animation and stuck with animation. And I really love the tattooing. So when we both started working with Rusty, I just kept going with it.
So how do you go from getting a tattoo from Rusty? You're in California, but are still living on the East Coast.
Right.
And then, so where's the jump off point? How do you start learning from them?
Right. It's like, this was mid-pandemic. We were talking mostly online about learning how to tattoo and the anatomy of everything. Okay. And then we flew out to Virginia and worked at Mr. Finster's Tattoo. And we learned how to tattoo sanitary, tattooing on a person. He taught me everything there, all the do's and don'ts, what not to do with ink. I think my first mistake that I learned was I refilled an ink cap with ink, and I wasted a whole new bottle of ink because it was a cross-contamination kind of thing. I was like, oh, so sorry. And it was just like a lot of those things.
Yeah.
And that's like what that's for. The learning what to do and what not to do. And when we finished that process there, I learned everything I needed. So it's like, good luck.
So was that like a tattoo school?
It wasn't like a tattoo school. It was an apprenticeship.
It was, and how did you get that?
Just from talking to Rusty. I was just like, it was the same networking. So
Rusty in LA, and so you had expressed interest, like, this is something I really want to pursue. So you're kind of like continuing a DM conversation or like a direct conversation with each other.
Right.
And then he says, hey, there's an opening at this other spot in Virginia.
It's his friend's studio.
Okay.
So it's like we learned in person there. It was we had the hours of an apprenticeship there, and then when I moved to Providence, when getting your tattoo artist license, Rusty had signed off on my hours and was licensed there. I took the license tests. I went to the Board of Health, regulated all of the legality things to be a tattoo artist, and he was able to sign off on my license, and here we are. I've been licensed for a couple years now.
It seems so, like, I just love that because you're naturally a friendly, chatty person, so you're able to sort of kind of like slide into these relationships. People want to spend more time with you, and they're like ready to give you some opportunities.
Right.
So, I mean, and this is so funny because it's like, this is what I'm telling people. Like, if you want to be a part of a community, you got to start like just showing up to their things.
Exactly.
And so, you know, for me, that means like, I want to be a part of the North River community more. Exactly. So I am a student there. So I take classes. I go to the festival. Like, I just put myself where I want to be.
Right.
And that kind of sounds like what you're doing as well. Because if you're just like randomly reaching out to a tattoo studio asking if they need apprentices, like, I feel like I would be expecting a lot of no's.
Yes. To like do that, I went and got tattooed by these people.
Yeah.
I pay them for their time in a way, which is kind of how I first started talking to them, getting to know them. And Natalia really got me this relationship with Rusty, who I really have to thank so much for everything in my career. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Rusty and like his help, his knowledge, like for being such a great teacher. And I know he's just doing the same thing out in TatLogic right now for the new people there at that studio. And I love to see it. I hope one day I get to go out to TatLogic and just tattoo with them because they're just amazing people. Everyone I've met on learning there. I almost went on a tangent there just because I appreciate them so much. So I forgot what we were talking about.
No, but I mean, it's interesting because then, of course, like, there could be all these questions that, you know, let myself go down about Rusty as well. Like, how did Rusty get started? You know, like, how is Rusty much older than you?
Yeah.
Got some good seniority in the industry.
Yeah, I think he's one of the kind of mid-younger tattoos. He was, if I remember correctly, he was an Army or in the veteran area, so in one of those like Marine, Army, veteran. So I think that's where he got his career started.
Okay.
Which, like, a lot of, in like the tattoo history, that is where a lot of that started.
Yes.
You know, the Marines, you've seen all the history of tattoos start out in the Army, and I think that's where it really came for him as well. And I can't speak on so much because I don't know too much about his upbringing, but I know that whatever he's done it so graciously. And you hear a lot about apprentices these days. It's like, oh, it's not good. Like, yes, an apprentice takes a lot of money and time from you. And I had a second job during that time because you don't make money, and that's totally fine. This is a learning period.
Yeah.
But you still hear a lot about these mentors just not treating these people nicely or correctly. Yes, it's a cutthroat area, but does it have to be that cutthroat?
Right.
And sometimes people say, yeah, this is a competitive career, and other artists are going to come for each other's throat. But being in Rhode Island and meeting all the artists around here, I have a sense of community, how much people help each other, working at Angels, all these artists, there's 7 of us in there. We support each other. And although there's so much tattooing in this world, it's still there. People still want tattoos. People still will like pay for your time and like your art that they love. And I love this career. Like,
that's so great.
I wouldn't change anything.
I'm really glad to hear that you have a sense of community. That was something I wanted to ask about, because I think that tattooing, it's interesting. It's a business model that can really go a lot of different ways. So you're at Angels Tattoo on the west side of Providence on Broadway.
Yep.
Cute location.
Very cute.
Has like a bike shop underneath.
We're right above Nitro Bar, which has been booming these days.
Yeah. When I parked and pulled up, I couldn't figure out where to get in. And then some guy in his like fresh new bike was pulling away. I'm like, do you know how to get into the tattoo shop? And he's like, oh, what? There's a tattoo shop here? I'm regular at the bike place. I didn't know you were good at tattoos. And then I found the sign and made my way up. So is that sort of like, I'm in my head equating this to the salon industry. Are you like renting a chair, or like that's your room? So are you like renting studio space, paying rent to them, and then everything else is just done? It seems like you're completely like your own business, just within a collective.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. We have our rent, and we run our business. We all do our thing, and we all contribute to the studio. That's we all run it the same way. We all meet like once a month just to make sure that things are going to plan. We each have a role. We all run the studio collectively. And
great.
For Flash Days, what we love and try to do is donate money to other businesses around Rhode Island. House of Kodak is one that we donate to a lot. I'm blanking on a bunch of them, but anything that needs help in the community, we definitely try to contribute to.
That's great. Well, send me a list later and I can add it to the show notes and everything if people want to click and find some places that are worthy causes, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I can definitely find the places we've donated to, helped out, who's even come and help out us as well. We've had like Miss Naomi's ice cream and some flowers being sold at some Flash Days before. Fun. Just so people get like everything. You've got like it's really a sense of community there, and it's so fun when everyone's around. You go downstairs and talk to people. My partner Jesse and some other partners of the studio will come and help out downstairs. We set up some tents. We talk to people.
Oh my gosh!
We'll sell some prints every now and then, but it's like a raffle style. You come in, put your name in, you get chosen, and it's usually you get a good chance of being chosen because there's so many artists there.
That's great. So you guys are really creating community as well. It sounds like you're turning it sort of into a community event. You're raising money for other places in the community. You're having these other vendors come in. I mean, if having good community is important to you, then how can you build that on your own turf? And it sounds like you guys are doing that. How often do you do a Flash Day? Is it like an annual thing?
Yeah, we do it every 2 months.
Oh my gosh!
2 or 3 months.
I want to be a vendor.
In the winter. Yeah, you should.
I want to come. I'm not sure what I'll do. Sometimes I do. I'll do aura drawings for people.
Ooh.
So I use all my collage, my paint markers, my sparkle pens, everything, and I had set a timer and for 10 minutes. Well, I was doing them when someone was getting their tarot read. So it's sort of like an add-on to a
cool.
service.
That'd be cool to have downstairs.
Especially if people are like waiting around or because again, and it's like also just back to the like entrepreneur hustle and the genuine desire to be a part of community. Like a service like that for my angle, it's like, yeah, like I could make a few bucks from that, but honestly, I'm going to meet cool people.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun day. I'm going to be in community. Like, I'm an extrovert living in an introverted business a lot of the times, because it's like, I'm home planning all this stuff by myself a lot. But yeah, it just sounds like such a fun day. I would really instantly want to get involved. So, okay, so for Angels, there's not like one central phone number or like email you would, I guess if you reached out directly via Instagram or something, they'd try to select and help you choose an artist.
Yeah, normally if you were to reach out to the Angels Instagram, we would direct you to the artists themselves. We'll give you the list of all the artists, and you would go to the desired artist for your desired style. We are all so different in style. We range from hand-poked to machine, to delicate fine line, to even bolder black work stuff like what I do.
Yeah.
And styles change over the years. I've seen some of these, like especially mine, styles change every month. And sometimes we'll get a request that does fit someone's style, or we'll send it to them.
Yeah.
But since we don't have like a central booking system, you're usually sent to the artists that would execute that the best.
I love that. I mean, I'm thinking about it from like if it was my job perspective, and I mean, I'm an entrepreneur, so I like working for myself, but I feel like that's such a big advantage that you're all just kind of in control of your own books and booking. And if someone comes to you with a request that's not quite your style, you'll have other people you can refer them to.
Right.
So have you had situations where you try to do that, but people are just like, no, I want you to do it, and like you're getting sort of pushed out of your comfort zone? And do you like that sometimes, or do you not like that?
I do like to be pushed out of my comfort zones, and if I'm doing something new, it's always communicated. If it's like something I've never done before, normally if I don't feel any confidence in doing it, I will stand firm on sending them somewhere else, or giving them like, so they get the exact picture that they've wanted.
Yeah.
You could always trust an artist, and I think it's so honorable to trust an artist for doing their first thing, especially if it's your first thing. But there have been some times where I'm like, I truly feel like this artist will execute this so much better.
Yeah.
And make your vision truly come true. Because it would, of course, I could probably take it in.
Yeah.
Be uncomfortable and risk doing something like that. But I'm like, for the sake of the client and wanting their vision to really come true, sometimes it's okay to be like, I can't.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah, like it's hard to say no sometimes, but it's really for the best.
But sometimes I don't. And if that artist, the client is okay with that, and I really put a lot of thought and practice into doing something new, we can totally work on it. Like I really love to push my limits.
Yeah.
If I don't push my limits, I stay in one place. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
I learned so much more. Like I've been a black and gray artist my whole career, but if I start doing color, which I've been thinking about, I feel like I can learn a lot from that process to really use in my black and gray process as well.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You do have a lot of different styles. Like when I was looking through your work, like I said, the first thing I saw was that fish hook, which is like very bold graphic design style. But then you look through, and some of the pieces that I love are these tattoos you do where it looks like an actual realistic crystal vase with then this like very like graffiti style flower coming out of it.
Yes.
And it just seems like punk rock to me.
Yes.
It's so punk. It's like, I can do all of this. Yes, I can make this look hyper realistic. And then it's also just fun to scribble a flower in.
Yeah. I've seen that style really come up a lot these days, and there are a lot of artists who do that, do that, and I loved it. I really wanted to put my own spin on it, and I really love doing that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Some kind of realism, crystal, glass. It's like, that's a challenge. It's like, how do you make something look like that, especially on skin? And then adding a nice little flower on that, it's like, there it is.
Bold too, like a really thick line.
Yeah.
So when you're doing work like that, are you needing to change the amount of needles that the what do you call it? You don't call it a gun, do you?
A machine. Machine. A tattoo machine.
I feel like I hear tattoo gun a lot, but I'm like, I know that's not technically what they say.
I know,
your machine.
You'll hear like, it's not a gun.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a gun. And I'm like, sorry.
Censor
that.
Yeah, I know. Don't point your fingers towards me either. Yeah, so are you needing to switch out? Like, I'm thinking from a drawing or painting perspective, right? I'm like switching my brushes and all that. Like, you must have to...
Right.
Walk me through some of that.
Exactly. A big needle grouping size will be used for something as bold as that, a mag or a larger round shader. You could technically fill in with a very small needle, but why would you? Right. That would hurt the client a lot more.
Yeah.
And it'll go by a lot slower. Sometimes with shading with such a small needle like that, healing can go either way. It's a smaller kind of area. You're going into the skin. Anatomy wise, the skin's gonna be like, what's going on here? But using a larger needle like that, when I first started, I was like, how do you do this? It's so weird, the angles. But it has been my favorite way to bold things, it's the only way. And using the mags, the round shaders, really helps get all that black in there. Nice and easy. Even with the mags, getting nice soft shading for some details as well.
So for a piece like this where you had a little bit of shading but also the bold initial lines, so that was 2 different needle groupings?
Exactly. Yep.
Interesting.
One for the outline and then another for the shading.
Gotcha.
And then along with that goes with the voltage speed.
Okay.
The speed of how the needle's coming out will tell you how far these dots are going to be away from each other.
Right.
Slower the voltage speed, you'll get more of a nice gradient shading. When using a higher voltage for an outline, say, all that black is really going to show up there. It's going to be more not necessarily damaging to the skin, but it'll be harder to execute a soft gradient with a higher voltage than a lower voltage. I think of these videos that I would see online of a pen in the same kind of tattoo machine. When you change the voltage speed and go the same speed with your hand, the dots are going to be different lengths apart.
That's a great way to describe it. And so just getting control over your hand speed is something that in every art application, in drawing, that matters to me. In painting, in pottery, that's another interesting. I'm seeing correlations with pottery here because the wheel, I'm controlling with a foot pedal the speed of the wheel, but then I have to match the movements of my hands to the speed of the wheel. So it's this mind body connection.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny really how you see so many correlations from different mediums that go into this, and it's just adjusting to making sure that all the lines look nice and thin or bold or just in the same level or that layer of that skin. I remember taking a class at the University of Phoenix on skin and stuff, and that was the coolest class I've ever taken. I was telling my partner, I would totally take it again, and I wish I had, the curriculum or that...
the syllabus?
Yeah, and the syllabus or, the site we used, because it was, a little virtual laboratory.
Yeah.
This is so cool. I loved learning about, how these tattoos heal in your skin.
Yes.
How it happens, the scientific words, which I couldn't tell you a single word, but I thought it was really cool. And it was really eye-opening to the how deep you need to go when tattooing.
This is one of my questions, because sometimes I've heard people say like, oh, I had a tattoo done, like this tattoo was done by someone with like a heavy hand. And like, I don't know, like it's someone maybe was putting more pressure than the other, or like I have my tattoos, I feel like some have healed so easily and others, I don't know, not that they haven't, but it's just different almost. Like I have like this piece has like really super fine lines, you know? This was done by Jennifer Laws up in Canada.
Very nice.
I traveled to Toronto for this because, you know, when you find the right artist.
You want to travel, you go.
But so she was doing super, super fine lines.
Oh. And here she is.
Hi, sweetie. And so.
The star of the show.
The star of the show. Oh my God. This is the best kitty. She's so fluffy. She's like a little cloud living in your home.
I know, right?
I love this.
How do you leave when she's here?
Especially if she curls up with you. It's all over.
It's over. You have a cramp in your leg?
Oh my God.
Suck it up.
So like with these different types of tattoo applications, the needles are different. You're trying to get into the skin the right way. Like, are there different healing recommendations that you would have for people when they're, you know, post-care, based on if you have a really fine line, you want to really make sure you don't put too much lubrication to pull that ink out? Like, are there worries or concerns like that? Or do you generally have a standard set of healing instructions for everyone?
Yeah, I normally have a standard set of healing instructions. I used a lot of Sanoderm, which is that clear patch that stays on you. But sometimes I'll just use kind of like a saran wrap or or loose wrapping that comes off in a couple hours. Yeah. That's something I really lean towards more of that traditional kind of healing process. It really is a lot up to the client on how much you really want to take care of that. I give you all these instructions, and which I follow as well, and I just recommend that overall for whatever piece you get. And I haven't really seen too much of a difference with healing from Sanoderm to the traditional like saran wrap or like a dental bib healing period. I go for the standard, like leave it on for a couple hours, a little bit of Aquaphor for a couple days, and then some moisturizer. I believe it's a lot harder to infect a tattoo than people think, just because if you were to get it and completely ignore it, it's like, well, then good luck. Like you don't know what's going to happen. But if you take care of it, wash it, a little bit of like Aquaphor in the beginning, but not all the time, will do it a lot of justice. Aquaphor being such a high moisture content, I don't usually recommend using it so much. Yeah. Just because it's going to be healing for a little, and then it's going to be dry and patchy. Right. And it's going to be itchy. So that moisturizer will really help. And as long as it's all fragrance free, you should be okay. Yeah. And that's you're great not advice. Working out, sweating all the time.
Yeah, don't sweat it out. Yeah. Because that's the thing, right? Like, I feel like I've never really been worried about infections with healing. It's more like I'm worried it's going to scab up in a way that when my scab comes out, the ink is going to come with it. Right. And this was my first tattoo. This was a little square I got on a road trip. Nice. I had the idea for a sibling tattoo, and I always wanted a sibling tattoo. There's 4 of us. So they were not even with me, but I texted them. I'm like, guys, I'm doing it. Please join me when you would like to, if ever. But I'm going for it. And I was on a road trip. I didn't know what I was doing. I did not take good care of it. And then, like, you can kind of, it's so old. This was so long ago now. But there's this little break in the line here. Yeah. And that was absolutely a chunk of the scab had come out and, like, taken some of the ink with it. Yeah.
Sometimes the bodies just do that. Bodies are weird. People kind of heal differently, heal in different ways. And with that, you know, I always say, always look at an artist's healed work. That'll really show you how, like, what their hand is doing when their needle's in you. Oops. And that will really demonstrate like how you want this to go, and like what kind of styles they do. Right. If you want something bold, traditional, go to like a really awesome, bold and traditional artist. There's so many and plenty of really good ones around, from Massachusetts to Rhode Island. From something fine line, I wouldn't necessarily go to a traditional bold artist for something as fine lined. And you know, sometimes when people are on the road, you don't really have time to look that up. And sometimes that's just how it is. Like, some people think that's life, and you get a little tattoo, you can always get it fixed up.
I know, and that's the thing. Like, mine, I feel like I get my tattoos as almost little passport stamps of different chapters of my life. So I honestly like that it's a little, like, at this point it's faded. I got this like 20 years ago or something, and maybe not quite that long ago, but almost. And you know, it's got a little of its history there.
Yeah, it's like a story on you, no matter what it is. It's a nice story. And you got those artists that's like, oh no, I gotta cover this up. And you know, that happens. That's okay. People have stories about what their tattoos are, and I love to hear them. And some of them are personal, and people keep them close to their chest, and I respect that just as much.
I know. I remember when you were tattooing me, one of the questions you asked was like, oh, like, do any of your tattoos mean anything? And then before I knew it, I had already told you what every single tattoo I have means. You know, it's just like, okay, well, this one's this, and but it's really, it's like these stories that you're holding on to.
Exactly. Yeah.
A lot of your tattoos are just so playful, too. I feel like some of that tattoos that I see on your flash, this one, you know, I'm obsessed with.
Waiting for you.
Oh my gosh, Mario with, it's like the traditional, almost like sailor style profile of Mario, just like the bust, and then he has a neck tattoo. That says Peach.
Oh, I need to do that.
It's so just like fun and playful. So I know that you identify as a gamer.
I definitely identify as one. Yes.
I see that you're a gamer, tattoo artist gamer on your Instagram profile.
Gamer.
Yes. Yeah, right across the middle. Okay, and also I wanted to talk to you about Arcane, because you asked me about Arcane. So did you play League of Legends? Was that?
No.
No? Okay.
No. Unfortunately, I did not get to that area of gaming. There's clients who do come in and do play it, and I'm just like, yes. But I was never that kind of style of playing. It almost got me. It did almost get me. After finishing Arcane, I downloaded an app on my phone.
Okay.
But I didn't have enough storage, and I had to delete it, and it saved me from that mess. You
would have been gone.
I would have been gone, and I just know that the fan base is just like a little toxic on that area. So
Okay.
definitely something. I was never an online gamer, and like played with other people, and even now I'm playing a game that does have that, and I'm like, whoa, I need to turn voice chat off.
Yes,
these people are very pleasant.
Like, calm down, everyone. Like, it's just a game.
It's
like,
not that big.
You're going in with a much different vibe.
Yeah, it's like, it's just fun. I like to play with friends and stuff, and like community. The flash that I'll get from some of these games, so fun. I mean, after college and everything, it feels like I really went for something. I was like, what makes me happy? Or like, what a lot of people, this makes a lot of people happy too, making flash like this. I love to do it. Like, these characters mean a lot to me and mean a lot to other people who come in for like tattoos of their favorite games. I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. I will play the game to make sure I know the lore. And same thing for movies. I had a fantastic Mr. Fox piece, and I made sure to watch the movie to make sure that I was getting it correctly. But yeah, I absolutely love it. The Mario, it's all yours. That whole sheet.
Oh my gosh, it's so
fun.
Good. I don't know if I'll ever pull the trigger, so if anyone wants a badass Mario,
one day I'll make it temporary. A temporary tattoo.
Maybe I should just get Peach. Yeah, I'll just be the Mario.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So how do you feel like you had any pressure that you put on yourself to like find your own style, or has it naturally evolved? And how would you describe your style if you had to?
If I were to describe my style, it would be like kind of like black work, bold, black and gray, with a touch of like realism. I've really gotten into like the softer shading and realism these days. It's changing, and every time I feel like, and let's see. I'm trying to remember your first question.
Well, I mean, I guess just about style, right? Like your style now, but also did you feel a pressure to get that, to, I don't know, get some style that felt genuinely yours?
Right.
I think that's something when people are coming into new artistic fields, you have to copy. You have to draw or replicate what's inspired you. And so at what point does it kind of click that you're like, okay, this is the direction I want to go in? Did you have a moment like that, or do you just kind of naturally end up where you
there are this kind of black work style that I really like to do, this like high contrast.
I know, she's so sweet. I love this kitty.
There was a couple. I hope you can see her in the cut right now.
I know. I think you. I hope you can.
I hope you can.
She's trying to make a close-up shot. There you go.
So there was a couple artists online that I saw do this style, and I really loved it. There was one. Her Instagram is Law's Tattooer, and people will see Law's work, and it's like, oh yeah, you do this. You do the same thing. But I really loved it. Law's is out in the UK, I believe, at a studio called Blank Collective, a studio I've been dreaming of guesting at someday. And I really loved that style. It was out in the UK, and I never really saw it out in Massachusetts or Rhode Island or out here. There's probably a lot of people who will and can do that. But I really wanted to kind of put my own spin on it in a way. And yeah, it's very hard because everyone does these styles, you know? A client will come in and be like, can I have this? And another tattoo artist will execute it perfectly.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There's so many talented artists around and can probably do anything. But the pressure to have my own style was definitely there because you want to stand out. You want to be the artist that only does this.
Right.
And I think still I'm even finding that. Like, how can I be different? Like, how can I be different to everyone? There are artists that I see online who have these really distinct styles, and the one I can think of is Ollie, Chronic the Hedgehog. Even some of my coworkers, like Blue and Kiki, Mimi, they all have these styles that really stand out, and it's like, it's theirs. Cool. And I'm like, I'm still kind of getting there. I do a lot of work that you can see everywhere, but how can I really stand out? So yeah. I do still feel that pressure, but that is okay. It's a process, and I really take a lot of inspiration and like from these people who do have that kind of style.
I feel like you do, though. I mean, I look at your work and it seems cohesive to me. I mean, you have different technical abilities with your bold line to your realism. You even have, what is it called? Like the 8-bit?
Yes.
Some of the 8-bit when you have that sort of like the squared pixelated pieces. I mean, but it all sort of ties together somewhere. There's some like sense of like whimsy. I don't know if that's the right word, but there's some sense of cohesiveness, of like this playfulness, exploration. And I mean, you can do all your flash and all of your drawings and sketches, but I mean, it's one client at a time, you know, like it's like all art, right? Like if I'm making pottery, I have a certain number of glazes I'm using. And if I want to start veering my collection to a different colorway, it's like slowly over time. So it's kind of fun to check back with an artist after a while to see it usually has shifted a little bit. A client could come in with a custom idea too. And it's something I've never done before, and I love to do that. Even if it's something that not everyone likes
want the tattoo of either Link or Mario. Not everyone does that. Surprisingly, don't know why, but I guess so. I love getting custom ideas for that reason.
Yeah.
It's something new. Like, of course I love to do this one thing, and I will do it forever. But if I want to do like a nice delicate flower, come and get a delicate flower.
Yeah.
Love to do it. We'll work on it. We want like a bold like dagger with a skull through it. Come get a bold dagger with a skull through it. Like, I love to do it all.
What's your most interesting? Like, what's the most interesting or like weirdest tattoo that comes to mind that you've done? Something that was maybe like bigger project, or
actually there's a friend of mine, Christian, who comes in with the weirdest ideas, and he was a friend of mine in high school, and
another South Shore kid.
Oh, right. And he came in with the idea. He wanted like a narwhal, like holding like a book, with like a wine, like in a suit, like a distinguished gentleman. I'm like, this is awesome. Loved the idea. It came out perfectly. I'll send it to you.
Yes, I need to see this. There's so many layers to that idea. Right. And I'm sure every one of them has its own story.
Exactly. And the most recent one we did was a little Link from Wind Waker. And in that game, he has a little a Wind Waker stick, and it looks like a composer. Like, so he wanted Link as a composer.
Love it.
And what he wants is a string of like characters he's liked or ideas playing instruments and a line like a marching band, and he's composing everyone. The first one we did was Prince Naveen from the Princess and the Frog.
Yes.
One of my favorites.
As a frog?
As a frog, playing the trumpet.
Okay,
and
great.
We were in jazz band together. He was the trumpet player and I was the piano player. I wasn't very good back then, I will say. Every time a solo came on, I'd freeze and everyone's like, all right.
Lily, it's yours.
Let's go here. My teacher's like, geez. Probably that's why we got from platinum to gold in our Berkeley, like, jazz days. And I'm like, and they would announce, like, rhythm section, score 3 points. I'm like, that was me. That was me, because I didn't solo.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. So they would really break down these competitions.
Oh, yeah. They were.
By the section.
Yeah. They were scary. They really were.
Gosh.
But they were fun. But
I love that. So what did your friend play?
I had trumpet.
Oh, he was trumpet. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was like friends, a couple of us, friend group in there. I was always the piano player, just in the back. Didn't really talk very much.
Yep.
They called me forehead, so.
They called you forehead?
I could only see my head. I didn't. Over the piano, like.
Oh my God. Amazing.
They didn't really call me forehead. There was a nickname for 1 year, but hey, it stuck. I'm just like, damn.
I love it. You're just hiding, because you're just hiding in the back there.
What's with my forehead?
Well, it's so great, because I mean, you get a nice little alcove in your studio now. You get to kind of hide a little and then throw community events and be a part of the community when you want, but kind of have your own little protected space. So for when people book with you, I know I had seen, I have some spots open up. Mm-hmm. So that was great. So I just reached out to you for that. But do you typically just like have your books open for a couple months and then close them? Like, how do you manage your schedule like that? Do you have a constant flow of people coming in? Like, I guess like the PR, the press, how do you get it going? Like, so many questions. How did you go from, your apprenticeship, and then did you just start at your own, like your first tattoo job?
I was tattooing in Marshfield for a little bit. Like, I feel like I've heard a lot of tattoo artists be like, I just started in my room. Like, so that's kind of like what I did. I started out in Marshfield, and I'm like, where do I go next? How do I really want to work like this, legally, regulated, my own space. I want to be with people. I had an opportunity in Plymouth that fell through, and I'm like, okay, what's next? I guested at Angels for a couple of weeks as a new artist, and I really talked to people there, and when they said that they had an open chair, I sent it. I went for it, and I was like, okay, I don't know if this is gonna work, but let's try it. And I'm sitting in Red Robin, Plymouth, with my friends from high school.
Yeah.
And I get an email from them. It's like, yeah, we'd love for you to join us. And I'm like, no.
Amazing.
I did it.
Yeah.
So that was my next step. It's like, okay, let's get licensed out in Rhode Island. Let's get everything ready. Let's start the career here. Moved out to Angels. Moved here to Providence about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago now. And have been here ever since.
Great. And so you're just filling your books. How far out do you book? Yeah. How do you manage that?
My books are open pretty much all times, but they're closed right now for the first time in a long time, just to get things ready. I want to make sure it's easier to find like information for clients on my Instagram, the websites that I've been working on for so long.
Yeah.
And I like to keep them open at all times so people have time to think of what they want. Full respect to those people who do open their books for a short period of time. That means they're booked, they're busy, and they're in high priority. I love that. When I did that, I had a lot of requests coming in, and answering all those at once kind of came overwhelming. Keeping them open at all times allows me to reply to people a lot faster. And you guys have some time to think about what you want, so you're not worried about this booking's closing last minute. I like to do that just so people either can think of a last minute idea, plan ahead, and I don't mind planning as far ahead for booking as
well, you have a nice form, so I kind of was able to say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, and you're like, okay, can you put all of that information into this web form? And it was great because I was able to really kind of get everything written in one place that it could be organized, and you had the ability to attach documents as well, images. So I was able to send you the reference sketch that I did. I was also able to take some pictures of my arm because we hadn't met in person. Well, I guess we had, but it had been 15 years or something.
I was 15.
And also who knows what size my arm would be at that point. So you were able to kind of see like, all right, she wants this sort of composition. I have about this much space on an arm to work with. Because although our anatomy is all the same, I mean, just people are all different sizes. So it could be a vastly different composition you'd have to figure out from one arm to the other. So are people typically kind of filling those out and booking within like a month to 2 months? Like, will you book someone further out? I mean,
if they state that they want to book further out, cool. I do have weekends available that fill up quite fast, so those can be booked out pretty far. Sometimes people will say their availability, which is super helpful so that I can work around their availability. What days of the week they're open, just to make sure I can work around their schedules.
And do you take all that? You have all that on your web form. You can organize that all. And I should say your Instagram handle, because you have a link to that on your Instagram, right?
Yes.
Okay, so your Lilly Tattoos.
Yes, that's technically the correcter way to say it, just because my last name is Austin. The A, that's where the A comes from. It's like Lilly, like what's up? But it's people call me Lila.
Because I wasn't sure. I checked with them like, do you go by Lila sometimes? So it's Lila, just one L.
Just one L.
Lilatattoos.
Yep.
Okay.
But when you spell Lily, it's 2 L's. So it's like, I'm really confusing you guys here.
I know.
Sorry. Didn't mean to do that. But my username has stuck with me for so long. I'm like, I don't want to change it. People can't find me.
No, just keep it. It's good. But in my head, I read it Lila. Lila Tattoos. But I know it's Lilly Tattoos.
You call me Lila, and I'm not going to correct you on that 100%. Like,
oh my gosh.
It's so fine. I can understand it's confusing.
That's all right.
I understand.
And so you have license in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, so you're regularly here. Okay, but you can guest spot in Massachusetts?
Yep. Yeah. Lots of wonderful studios out there will accept guest artists. And I love guesting at Pearl Street. Everyone there is so nice.
Yes.
I love the studio. And always looking to guest more places, but slow and steady.
I know. You could use that as an opportunity to travel, right?
Exactly.
Back to California, perhaps.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this for my stuff too. So, with all my community engagement stuff I did an artist retreat in Western Mass last summer. So I've been applying for grants to run a program in Western Mass.
Oh.
Because I want to travel there again.
Nice.
So, you know, kind of like
Mass.
trying to figure out that, you know, how can you bring when you're an entrepreneur.
Right.
Do a little guest spot here and there. Get a little vacay.
I know. I want to go see my friend out in the Czech. Let's go guest out
right?
in the Czech.
Oh my gosh, that would be so much fun. Okay, so you seem like you're loving life, loving your career.
Absolutely.
What a winding path. This is so great. Congratulations on being a tattoo artist.
I appreciate it.
It really seems
I love
like
this journey.
It's one of those jobs where it's just like, how do you end up there? But
yeah, it's possible. I have a lot of inspiration and like just learning from other artists. I really love seeing other people's work and just admiring it, and I really loved like everyone I've met in this career. And
what do you have for any tips when people come to you and say, "Oh, I'd love to be a tattoo artist," or "I want to get into something like that"? Yeah. What do you tell them? Keep drawing and talk to artists. Get tattooed by artists. Know what that feels like. Yeah. And networking is a huge thing. The more you draw, the more you understand your art, your style. I think everyone is an artist deep down. Yes. No matter like what. People are really hard on themselves, and I've seen a lot of people go from bottom to top really, really quickly. But yeah, keep drawing, talk to artists, practice. Yeah. Like, and if you like what I did, like, I was scared at first, of course, but my biggest thing was like, I felt like I could do it. Yeah. Like, I knew I could. I had the drive in me to do it, and if you have that drive, you got it. Yeah. Like, you can work towards it. Like, and it's really rewarding when you finally get there as well. Yeah. And you're on your own boss now. Yeah, it's so fun. Yes. It can be overwhelming, but it's so fun. I hate to reschedule people. It takes a year off my life because of course, I want you guys in, and like you have this expectation to get tattooed, and if anything happens, I'm like, I know. Sorry. It happens, though. It happens no matter what. It does. Life happens. Things get wiggled around. All my clients have been so nice. Hey, sweetie. She's coming to visit us again. Yeah, she just wants to come hang out. You're cold, aren't you? Anything else? Any other things you want to share? People can book with you directly? Yep. You can DM me on Instagram. You can email me. Do you have a website? I'm still working on my website. Okay. I hope to have that up this month. Email list? Yeah. All a part of the new website launch? Pretty much. Okay. Like, I would love to get more into social media. I know Instagram is going crazy right now, and like the whole social media thing. But yeah, always looking to find ways to make sure it's easy for people to book. Great. They want their tattoos. Emailing is usually awesome. Okay, what's your email? My email is lilatattoos at gmail.com. lilatattoos@gmail.com. Yep. So that's good. Yeah. So secure that. Yep. You can always email me if you don't have any like idea of what you want. We can always work on it. My consultations are always free. So that's awesome. You can always talk to me and talk through your idea, even if you're not feeling super confident on it. We can try and get you confident on it. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Luna is gone back to her roots in the jungle. Oh. She's gone into the Monstera. Honey, she's getting all tied up in the leaves. Oh my gosh, she needs her attention. I'm not gonna tell Jessie. Well, thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me over. Thank you so much. It was so awesome. Yay. I know. This is why I was late. I was building our new microphone clips. Amazing.